Topic is oxidation 7. In this oxidation 7, I will be dealing with the periodic acids. So moving on to periodic acid, it has the formula as H5O6, H5IO6 or HiO4 twice H2O. Okay, so 2H2O. So this is the structure of the periodic acids, that is your H5 1 2 3 4 5 atoms of the hydrogen, and then oxygen is 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 and iodine is 1. Okay, that is your H5IO6. And then moving on to preparation part, if you will see here, there are 4 steps, like it is having the certain methods, method 1, method 2 and method 3. In the first method, what happens here is, on passing the chlorine or the iodine gas upon treatment with the silver nitrate, the periodic acid is prepared or obtained. Okay, this is your first method. So in this first method, you are having the 4 steps. In the beginning of the reaction, initially the base is treated with the iodine. Okay, so when it is treated with, when the 6 molecules of NaOH is treated with the 3 of the iodine, upon heating, the sodium iodate is formed with the 5 of the, with the cleavage of 5 NaI, and 3 molecules of water molecules gets eliminated. Then moving on to second step, the sodium iodate is treated with the 3 moles of NaOH upon treatment with the chlorine gas. Okay, upon passing the chlorine gas, at that time what happens, you will generate the sodium hydrogen periodate with the cleavage of NaCl as the salt. Okay, and again in the third step, you are taking the sodium hydrogen periodate, and if you are treating it with the silver nitrate. Okay, so upon treatment with the silver nitrate, what happens here is, you will get the silver orthoperiodate with the cleavage of the sodium nitrate and the nitric acid. In the fourth step, you have to take the Ag5, that is silver orthoperiodate, and you have to pass the chlorine gas upon treatment with the aqueous solution. Okay, that is your water molecule. Well, at that time you will get back your orthoperiodic acid. If it is orthoperiodic acid, it is H5IO6. Okay, first that whatever the orthoperiodic acid you will get, that upon evaporation with the concentrated H2SO4, you will get back that product. Okay, and moving on to the next thing, so that product you have to collect and you have to heat it upon 100 degrees Celsius in vacuum. So when it is heated with that vacuum, at that time you will get your HiO4, that is your metaperiodic acid, which we will use generally. Okay, metaperiodic acid is only used generally for the oxidation purpose. Moving on to next slide. If you will see here, you are in the next method, this is your next method, how you are preparing the metaperiodic acid. So we are taking the perchloric acid upon treatment, passing the iodine gas upon treatment with the water molecule in the presence of an aqueous solution, then you are getting the metaperiodic acid with the cleavage of the chlorine gas. Okay, moving on to third, by the anodic oxidation of iodic acid, that is your iodic acid means HiO3. Remember, iodic acid is your HiO3, metaperiodic acid is your HiO4, and then orthoperiodic acid is your H5IO6. Okay, that you have to remember. And then moving on to here, what happens here is, it has some characteristic properties, whereas the oxidative cleavage of bonds, whichever is there, I will show you in this cleavage. Okay, in the upcoming slides I will show you. So first, in generally, let me explain. So what happens here is, whatever the oxidizable groups are there, such as like 1,2-diols, alpha hydroxycarbonyl compounds, 1,2-diketones, alpha amino alcohols, etc. All these carbonyl compounds, amino compounds, and then amino acids, its diketones, etc. Will get oxidized. Okay, and in presence of this acid, And then some molecules, like some compounds like 1,3-diols and 1,4-diols or certain carbonyl compounds will not oxidize with this reagent. Alright, and also the reagent will not have any effect on oxide ring of the carbohydrates. If you will go through the upcoming slides, you will get to know all these points. So for the example, if you are taking CHOH, CHOH and then CHOH etc., that two adjacent oxidizable groups are not getting affected. So here you have, this is the very important point wherein you should know where it is getting consumed. One molecule of the reagent, that is your periodic acid, gets consumed and which is oxidizes to the formaldehyde, is getting oxidized to your formic acid. And then CH2OH is getting oxidized to your formaldehyde, and this is your aldehyde. Aldehyde is getting oxidized to your formic acid, and then CH2OH will gets oxidized to your formaldehyde, and then CHOH whenever it is there, and it will either convert or oxidize to an aldehyde or the formic acid. Remember, this is a very important thing wherein you have to apply it in the application part as well as for the conversions. So moving on to certain examples, if you will see here, if we are taking this one R2COH, CHOH R dash, and then if we are taking if we are treating it with the periodic acid, what happens here is this gets converted into ketone molecules. Okay, the secondary alcohols are getting oxidized to the ketone molecules, and the primary alcohol is getting oxidized to your RCHO. Okay, so just remember the CHOH will be there, right? So that is getting converted into the CHO aldehyde. Okay, and then moving on to next, with the consumption of one of the periodic acid is getting consumed over here, that you have to write. And then over here, if it is getting cleaved out over here and then here, okay, you have to show the cleavage bonds and then just show the dash bonds. And then when this is getting cleaved, that is your CHOH, you are getting an aldehyde, and if CHOH is getting here, what happens here is two of the aldehydes you are getting, and then one which is there CHOH in between, whatever is there, that is getting converted into the formic acid. Okay, with the consumption of your one molecule of your periodic acid. Here if we are taking the one molecule of your periodic acid, it is consumed, one molecule of that is consumed. If we are taking the two molecules of periodic acid, we are consuming two molecules of acid over here. Okay, and then moving on to next reaction, next example. Well, again here one molecule of your periodic acid you are taking, and here is the breakage. RCO is oxidized to your RCOOH, and then this CHOH will convert into R dash. One second. So first what happens here is R dash CHOH is getting oxidized to your R dash COOH, and RCO is getting converted into RCHO. And then moving on to here, if you will see, again there is a cleavage over here in this part. So you are resulting with the one of the formaldehyde and the acid, formic acid, and again if you will see, there is E breakdown over here for the diketone molecule, and you are getting two of the carboxylic acids. So see here there is a slight confusion over here. Here if you will see RCO, that RCO is getting oxidized to your carboxylic acid, not an aldehyde. Okay, this just make it as an RCOOH. This is your R dash CHO. Okay, there is a typing error over here. You have to make it as for this R dash, you have to make it as RCOOH. For this it is R dash CHO. Alright, and then moving on to next, if you will see here, if you are taking the amino compounds, RCHNH2CHOH R dash with the consumption of one of the periodic acid, what happens here is one of the ammonia gets evolved or liberated, and then you are resulting the two molecules of your aldehydes. Okay, and then if you are taking this compound, because the methylene group is present over here, upon treatment with the periodic acid, there is no reaction over here, just because the methylene group is attached in between the alcohols. So this is the mechanism. Let's move on to the mechanism. If we are treating it with the ethylene glycol, and then if we are treating it with the periodic acid, okay, so what happens here is two of the water molecules are getting cleaved out. If you will see here, H from here, ethylene glycol, and then this RCHOH is there, right? One from upper part. So from here H and then OH is getting cleaved out, and here also similarly HOH, that is your two water molecules are getting cleaved out by generating the hydrated ion. Okay, so once you will get the hydrated ion, here what happens, this OH bond is there, right? So this bond shifts over here, and then there is a cleavage of one of the water molecule from here. This bond will shift over here, so if you will see here, this bond will shift over here, and then this gets cleaved out. Okay, when this gets cleaved out, at that time you are getting the with the cleavage of the one of the water molecule, you are getting dehydrated ion formation. Okay, once you are getting the dehydrated ion formation, and this bond will shift and it will make an aldehyde, and this bond gets cleaved out. Meanwhile this bond shifts and you are resulting in the two molecules of an aldehyde with the cleavage of the iodate ion. Okay, and after that reaction, you are generating the two molecules of molecules of an aldehyde. Okay, this is the mechanism how you will convert an alcohol to an aldehyde in presence of your periodic acid. Okay, whenever they'll ask you the mechanism, you have to write this mechanism. Moving on to application part. So here in the mostly the applications are applied in the carbohydrate chemistry. So here if you will see, there is a determination of the structures of the carbohydrates in general, and in general we are taking the 1,2 glycols. Okay, so if you will see here, there is the identification of an aldoses. Okay, it can be either an aldopentose or aldohexose upon treatment with the periodic acid. If we are taking the aldopentose, at that time what happens here is if we are taking the aldopentose and then if we are treating it with the periodic acid, so here is the cleavage which I have shown. Okay, so CH2OH and then CHOH, CHOH, CHOH. This CHOH, okay, these three of the CHOH are getting oxidized to the formic acid. This whole part is getting oxidized to the formic acid, and this CH2OH is getting oxidized to the formaldehyde. If you will count the carbon atoms, if you will see here 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, right? Similarly, if you will see here, 4 of the carbon atoms are there in the formic acid and 1 is present in the formaldehyde. The reaction is balanced. Okay, so with the consumption of the 4 molecules of the iodic acid, periodic acid, you are getting the 4 molecules of the you are oxidizing it to the 4 molecules of your formic acid and 1 of your formaldehyde. Okay, and then moving on to the next reaction, if you are taking the aldohexose, so what happens here is with the consumption of the 5 of the periodic acid, here again the cleavage is shown over here. You are resulting in the 5 of the formic acid and then formaldehyde. Okay, moving 5 on to next slide. Molecules of your acids are getting consumed over here. The distinction of the aldohexose and ketohexose, how you will distinguish. So if you will see here, with the glucose and the fructose, that gets consumed with the different amounts of the periodic acid, and it will give you different amounts of your formic acids. Alright. So if you are taking the glucose, that is your aldohexose, hexose sugar, and then if you are treating it with the 5 molecules of your periodic acid, at that time what happens, if you will cleave the CH2OH and CHOH, okay. So when it gets cleaved out, at that time you are resulting the 5 of your formic acid with the cleavage of 1 of the formaldehyde, with 1 atom of your CH2OH is getting converted into the formaldehyde, and whole of this moiety is getting converted into the formic acid with the cleavage of your 5 of your HiO3. Okay, that is your iodic acid. And then moving on to next, if you are taking the fructose, if you are seeing here, and then if you are treating it with the 4 molecules of your periodic acid, here what happens, 1 molecule of formaldehyde is getting, one molecule of formaldehyde is obtained, and then 3 molecules of your formic acid, and again here acid is obtained, that is your COOH, carboxylic acid. For this, okay, COCH2OH is getting converted into COOH, CH2OH, and then CHOH, 3 of this CHOH is getting converted into O3 formic acid, and this CH2OH is getting converted into formaldehyde. Alright, and with the liberation of your 4 of HiO3. Understood? CH2OH is getting converted into HCHO, that is your formaldehyde. CHOH, if you will see here, you are having the 3 molecules of CHOH, that is converted into 3 of your formic acid, and this keto group which is attached with an alcohol, that is converted into the CO group, is getting converted into an carboxylic acid. Okay. Okay. So here what happens, we are telling the from the amount of the periodic acid consumed and the amount of the formic acid liberated, the 2 monosaccharides can be identified. By this amounts, whatever the formic acid, formaldehyde, whatever is getting consumed, so by this only you are determining or differentiating or distinguishing the reactions. Okay, that is whether it is in glucose or the fructose, which of the aldohexose or ketohexose sugars are present over there. Moving on to the third, it is the determination of the size of the third application. The size of the oxide rings of the sugars can be determined. So here what happens, first we are taking the glucose. When the glucose is treated with the methyl alcohol and upon acidification with the HCl, at that time what happens, we are getting 2 isomers. One, if we are treating the glucose with the methyl alcohol and HCl in the cold condition, 1 isomer is generated, that is your second isomer, or methyl glucoside, second isomer, and 1 more isomer which is present is upon hot condition, if it is done, if the reaction is done, and at that time you are generating the methyl glucoside first isomer. Okay, that I will show you in the next slide. So here if you will come back, you are getting 2 isomers, right? One is upon heating and one is upon the cold condition. So if you are taking the isomer 1, you are getting this structure, that is your methyl glucoside. If you are taking upon treatment with the cold condition, you are getting the methyl glucoside second isomer. This is your second isomer. Okay. So if you are taking this first isomer and then if you are treating it with the 2 molecules of your periodic acid, what happens here is this is getting cleaved out in between. Okay, when this gets cleaved out, at that time what happens, this CHOH is getting converted into the aldehyde, and then again this CHOH is getting converted into an aldehyde. whatever the middle part which is present over here, that is your CHOH, middle one which is present over here, right, that is converted into the formic acid, not an formaldehyde. Remember this point, you are getting the formic acid, not an formaldehyde, and by this you are telling that at 1:5 oxide ring structure, that is your pyrinoside is present over here. Structural elucidation, if you have to say, you will tell, right? For any reaction, if you will proceed with that reaction, if you are getting that particular product, if you are getting that respective product, you will confirm with that whether the oxide ring is present, in which position it is present, if it is present, in which position is present, right? And if it is the ring structure is there, whether it is a pyrinoside or furinoside or whatever it is, right? So we are telling the same thing over here. And then in the second isomer, if we are taking the second isomer of your methyl glucoside, so here if you will see, there is a breakage over here in this position and then over here. Okay, so if you will break it over here what happens? If you will break it over here, this CH2OH is getting converted into the HCHO and you are getting the aldehydes. This is getting converted into an aldehydes. Okay, and then moving on to here, whatever the observation is, here you are getting the 1:4 oxide ring structure, that is your furanoside. After the consumption and the breakage of this compound, you are getting the furanoside as your ring structure. Okay, so moving on to the next slide. In the oxidation of an alkene, so here what happens here is, just go through the points over here. In general, I'll say you this, I'll explain you this reaction. Okay, so if we are taking the exocyclic olefinic compounds, okay, this olefinic bonds are getting affected rather than the alkenes which is present inside, that is your endo-olefinic structure, whichever it is present. For example, if we are taking the cyclohexene compound, suppose, that will not have any effect upon treatment with the periodic acid. Okay, and then if we are taking any of the allylic compounds and inside the ring, if any of the alkenes are present, if it is like dienes compound and cyclohexadiene, okay, if we are taking that is also, that reaction will also not show any of the changes with the treatment with this periodic acid. Okay, so here the case is, the thing is, what you have to remember is the exocyclic olefinic bonds which is present over here, that will only affect. Okay, so if we are taking the exocyclic olefinic bonds once upon treatment with the cold KMnO4, dilute KMnO4, you are resulting with the glycols. Okay, first the glycols is obtained, and then again when it is treated with the sodium iodate, at that time what happens? This gets converted into the ketone molecule. Okay, and once it is getting converted into the ketone molecule, and then what happens with this treatment itself, what happens here is, this is getting reduced to a ketone and the formaldehyde, this gets cleaved out as a NiO3 with the cleavage of one of the water molecule. Okay, moving on to the estimation of the amino acids. Here, if the adjacent of your amino group, if we are taking an amino acid, if the amino acid, it is having the amino group which is present in the amino acid contains a hydroxyl group adjacent to the amino group, okay, that gets converted into, in presence of a periodic acid, it will get converted into the aldehyde group. Okay, so two of the aldehyde groups are getting converted, and with the liberation of the one of the ammonia, you are getting the two of the aldehydes with the cleavage of your iodic acid, that is your iodic acid HiO3. Okay, so here if you will see the evolution of the ammonia and the oxidant consumed, whatever the oxidant which is present over here, they are consuming it. Okay, when that is getting consumed, that will estimate from the percentage of the purity of the amino acid. what kind of purity it is having, whether it is having a 95% of the amino acid purity, or 85 or 75 or 55%. Depending on that, it is getting consumed, and it can be determined based on that purity. Okay, and why we are doing this reaction is for the determination of the chain length of the polysaccharides. Okay, for the determination of the chain length, how much the chain length is, whether it is the monosaccharide units or polysaccharides or oligosaccharides, it's like that, what the chain length is for that saccharides. Okay, and then in the structural elucidation of, if you have studied the natural products, you will get to know this easily. For the structural elucidation of your chloromycetin, okay, it is again useful. And for the natural products such as like synthesis of cholesterol, reserpine and all will use this amino acid estimation. Okay, so moving on, okay, next slide. Thank you. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in the comment box. Thank you.